So having a child who's now 14 is scary. Do you know that?
How?
Huh?
How is that scary?
How is that scary?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't understand because you're the subject. You're the person in this conversation.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a scary thing
How?
because you're now in the realms of the uncertainty. You know, teenagers are a very wild breed of human beings.
Wild breed.
Yes.
A
I just
wild
realized
breed.
I had these on. Teenagers are a very wild breed of human beings. And I am always very worried when kids become teenagers because I'm scared of what they will become. I feel like a lot. I feel like a lot of who you become is dictated in your teenage years.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I don't know. I might be wrong, but I'm just saying, right? A lot of the things that I learned about humility and the projection of arrogance and pride and how that messes up your life and all that. A lot of just general life stuff was in my teens. A lot of my misbehavior towards the elderly was in my teens.
Okay.
Like, and I'm just really, I'm worried.
You think I'm gonna start misbehaving?
No, of course you're not, because I'll kill you. But it's
Okay.
not that. It's you know, it's just like, I think I'm concerned because there's also the thing around like me being overly protective and mummy being overly protective.
Okay, yeah.
There's that as well. There's a funny conversation that happened at work. So I was on Thursday, I was in a capsule endoscopy meeting, and it's this new type of endoscopy where you swallow a big pill
Okay.
and it goes into your, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes into your esophagus and your stomach, I think. But and then they have to pull it back out, and it's a little string.
Yeah. So
But
you're
I
in
was
the meeting.
so when I got into the meeting, I was the first person there, and the woman had she was talking about her kids
Okay.
and how her daughter came home saying, Amy has, TikTok. Why can't I have TikTok?
Okay.
And she said, absolutely not. Her daughter's the same age as you.
Okay.
She said, absolutely not. And I was like, oh, okay. So I get it. I said to her, I get it because I'm very much like that. My daughter's mother is very much like that. Mm-hmm. But I was like, but why do you do it? I know why I do it, but why do you do it? And she said, when she goes to bed at night, she just scrolls for like 3 hours.
That is so fair. I can't lie.
She scrolls for 3 hours. I was like, yeah, fairs. I respect that. But it's also like the content on there as well. I'm just wildly nervous. I know you wouldn't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't give my opinion on
that. But
that.
I'm also more nervous than Mummy is.
Why?
Because Mummy has grown up as a teenager in this country. I haven't.
Okay.
So there's a lot of unknowns for me. Mummy is a little bit more aware of, Mummy and I have had several conversations about okay, we should do this, we shouldn't do this, we should do this, we shouldn't do. And she leads a lot of those conversations because I don't know. I don't know what teenagers in Ghana are very different.
Also, because she's worked in a lot of schools as well.
Yeah, so she knows the kids.
Like what?
Yeah. She definitely knows.
She knows what's up.
Yeah, she definitely knows what's up. I'm glad she's around because to be fair, I may not have had a lot of the restrictions that you currently have now if Mummy hadn't suggested it. But I'm so glad she suggested it because a lot of things I'm still learning and still trying to understand.
Fair enough.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is. Obviously, like as a teenager, when you see like all your friends with this kind of stuff, obviously you want it because that's just how it is, right? But I feel like if you look at the big picture, I feel like overall, I would be grateful that you kind of postponed like having all the TikTok and the Snapchat and all of that because I know myself, and I know that
I know you. I know you on YouTube Shorts. You just keep going.
Yeah, like it's not even just that. I feel like as a person, I feel like it's better for me to find myself without all the distractions of having TikTok and all the Snapchat beefs and group chats and all that. Obviously, like all that already happens, but I feel like obviously like you still want this stuff, but it's all right, you know. I wouldn't like throw a fit about it.
You can live without it. Yeah. There are adults that I know that that are very level-headed, that read a lot, don't have social media at all. And I am no better than they are because I have TikTok. No, right? So it's like, what is the defining element of social media in your life? Well, it adds zero value except for it gives you a couple of pleasure in terms of watching people kick themselves in the face or do something funny or a bit of gossip. Oh, this person did that. But apart from that, I mean, it adds zero value to your life. It really does. And we know that as adults, like some of us that are on it, we know it adds zero value, but except for those that do it as business. So for you, you've got these accounts and it's helping to promote the work that you do. Very shortly, we're going to have you promoting all your jewelry and all of that kind of stuff. For you and for a lot of people that use it for business, great. But if you're just scrolling, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, I think that's fair enough.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. You will get it eventually. But I think, I want you to get GCSEs out of the way. That's a year and a half. You don't need to crunch numbers in your head.
I was crunching the numbers.
I'm seeing you doing algebra like...
Okay.
I want you to get GCSEs out of the way.
Okay. You know that what's funny? Like I feel every week or so, or maybe like every other week, one of my friends walks up to me like, "Did your parents let you get TikTok?" Yeah. Like, did you get TikTok?
Is that what your friends do?
Like all the time.
Yeah.
Because
how do you react to that when they ask about TikTok and why you don't have it?
Well, first of all, the friends that I'm really close with, they already know that it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And like they don't even ask because they're like, when it happens, it happens. And plus, one of my closest friends doesn't even have TikTok or social media herself.
Yeah.
So
who's that?
Can I name drop?
Yeah.
Rashani.
Oh, Rashani. Yeah, I know. Because, I remember from your party,
Yeah, so the vast majority of my friends have all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think she might be one of my only friends that actually doesn't have it with me.
But Rashani is not less happier than any of your friends.
No.
In fact, she was the bubbliest of all of them, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, when people ask me, I'm like, no. They're like, why? They're like so emotional about it. I think probably in year 7 was when I wanted it the most.
Yeah.
Because in secondary school, when you're new to secondary school, it's like everything's new, everyone's so cool, you want to fit in.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's the time where I wanted it the most.
Yeah.
Just so that I could have that kind of like, oh, I'm one of you guys kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think as I've gotten further into secondary school, I realized I don't actually need it.
Yeah.
And not that I don't want it, but I don't actually want it because like it doesn't bring anything to me. Whatever's on TikTok, I can get off YouTube Shorts. Whatever's I can message my friends on WhatsApp, whatever. Right. So the people who ask me are the people whose numbers I don't have. They're like, oh, did you get Snapchat yet? Because they want to talk to me on Snapchat. I'm like, if we were really that close, I would have your number and we would be able to have a conversation.
That is the dopest thing I've heard. That's amazing.
So
I don't like Snapchat. It's the worst of the evils.
Do you think so? You're not the only person I've heard say that. Why do you think it's the worst?
Is the demon of social media.
Why?
Because it's the only one that I know that has vanishing messages.
Okay.
I mean, what the hell? The one thing that we parents are scared of is the type of messages that our kids send to them, to their friends, and also the type of messages that predators may potentially send to our kids.
Yeah.
So social media platforms like Snapchat are probably most definitely the worst of the lot because they vanish.
Fair enough.
So where is the trail of what conversations you've been having? I know mommy would definitely agree with me on this one, but if you were to get social media after GCSEs, which I think would be fair, Snapchat would not be one of those.
Really?
100%.
Really?
Maybe when you move out and go to university, then yeah.
That is surprising.
Because I don't like Snapchat. I just don't think it's vanish. Then again, I haven't been on Snapchat, so I don't know. I'm only saying this based on what I hear the app is all about. But vanishing messages, what is that about? What is that about?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
So yeah. So which camera am I looking at? This one.
That one.
This is a message to your mother.
Message to my mother.
So Janelle Gant, we are not doing Snapchat ever. Maybe when you get married, in the future, you can choose to have it.
Okay, fair enough. Honestly,
is that fair?
I'm not going to try and argue with that one because
Right. Well, I was going to tell you the story about when your mommy told me she was pregnant.
Oh gosh.
Did I tell you this?
No.
So I had just received a scholarship to the New York Film Academy.
Oh wow.
And at that point, getting scholarship wasn't difficult for international students because they just wanted international students.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I put in a good application and I had done a very solid audition. And the same for Guildhall School of Music and Drama in the UK.
I think you told me about that.
I got a scholarship there, but they didn't give me a full scholarship. They gave me a partial scholarship or a half scholarship or something. So I had to come up with the money for the rest. But I remember I was on the train. I was going to some church thing, and your mother called me and said, "We need to talk." Said to me that she was pregnant.
Okay.
And then, so I didn't go where I was going. I just went to meet her, and we talked, and then we had to go to a clinic to just check.
Yeah, just double check. Yeah.
Pregnant. And then I remember we had gone to sit on a bench outside the clinic just to talk. And I think we sat there for a while in silence.
Really?
And just didn't say anything. Because for me, I was gassing myself inside because I was really happy about it. But equally, I was extremely nervous.
Fair enough.
At the time, I was a chief keyboardist in a church called Redeemed Christian Church of God. I was leading the children's choir. I was leading the senior choir, the youth choir. I was like, I was the guy.
You were killing it.
Yeah. And then obviously I had these scholarships that I was working on.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to go. So at that point, when we sat on the bench, I made the decision that I will not be taking the scholarship in America, which was disappointing. But I remember living in Ghana and coming home and just wanting to talk to my father about certain male things. Because my mom is a woman, and it's not that because she's a woman she wouldn't understand, but actually that's it. That's it. Because she's a woman, she won't understand some of the things that her male child will go through. And so,
what about your brother?
My brother and I were not. He didn't present himself as that mature at the time to be able to understand the problems that I was going through. Because we were only 4 years apart, and I think that sometimes people withhold problems inside because they don't have. Not that they don't have people around.
Yeah.
They don't have the right people around with the right skill set, with the right experience, with the right empathy to be able to digest what they're giving them and also help them with a solution-based answer. Most people just don't. So it's not like, oh, I have a problem. Oh, I need to tell people. There were lots of people around. No, it's not just having any random person. You have to have the right person.
Yeah.
And at that point, I felt I needed the right person, which would be an elderly man.
Yeah.
Ideally a father. And because I didn't have a father, I had a lot of resentment inside. My father would call at least once a week or something like that, but it wasn't the same because first of all I hadn't seen him. If he was around and then left when I was like 5, 10, I had built a connection. Then we just continued a connection over the phone.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen him ever. Yeah, because he left when I was 1 year.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, at the age of 1, what do you remember? Do you know what I mean? And kudos to him because he left to go pursue his career as a writer. Hence why you were part of the people that coordinated his last book launch. But obviously, it had an effect on me, a major effect on me, not having a father around.
Yeah.
And so I promised myself that I would not go to America and take up that scholarship, and I'll stay and I'll be present for you, but also for Janelle, because I knew that the next couple of years was always going to be next couple of years were going to be tough years, really tough years.
Definitely.
Tough because it's tough regardless, even if you have £1 million, because it's,
babies.
Kids are kids, in it. But yeah, so that happened, and then obviously the church decided to punish me because Janelle and I were not married. So they had brought me in front of the church. The church was about 200 people.
Okay.
They brought me in front of the church. One. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And they got me to kneel down in front of the church. Really? And apologize to the church.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Got me to kneel down in front of the church and apologize in front of the church. And then after my apology, they got everyone in the church to stretch their hands and pray for me. People were crying and rebuking the demons and all of that. I was like, wait, hold on. Wait, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So after that happened, as part of the church policy, I was supposed to serve a 6-month suspension.
6-month suspension?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have a child out of wedlock, you would serve a 6-month suspension in the church.
Crazy.
So there were some services that I would go, there was no keyboardist. And when you serve the 6-month suspension, you sit at the back. But you have to attend every church service, but you sit at the back. Now, the back of the church was where all the pregnant women sat because it was easy access to the door in case their kids needed ABC.
Okay.
So there'll be sometimes I'll come into church, sit at the back with the pregnant women.
Yeah.
And then on stage, there'll be no keyboardist. And they're doing praise and worship and singing and dancing without a keyboard. Without music. But they wouldn't budge because that's the policy of the church. I have to serve 6 months for having a child out of wedlock. So I was getting a bit fed up at some point, and I was like,
fair enough, honestly.
Even Jesus, I didn't feel like Jesus would do that to me, kind of thing. But I was loyal to my faith, but I was also loyal to the church.
Okay.
I felt that if the church had some policies, I was going to obviously abide by those policies.
Yeah.
So one Wednesday evening, I think we do Bible study on Wednesday evening. I had gone to church. I got there a bit late because I had just finished work. Okay. And I sat down at the back as normal, expected. Yeah. As normal. And then just before the offering, it's time for offering. Please, dip into your pocket and grab something. And then there's music and everyone comes up and then drops their money and goes to sit. Mm-hmm. But as the MC guy says, oh, it's time for offering, I see the head pastor walking down the aisle, walking to the back of the church.
To come get you?
Yeah, so he came to call me and says, can I have a word?
Okay.
And so we went outside the church. We didn't go outside it. We went to the corridor.
Okay,
but outside the main auditorium.
Yeah, okay.
And he says, we want to lift your 6-month suspension. And I thought, at that point, it was probably like 3 or 4 months. It wasn't
3 or 4 months, okay.
The full 6 months.
Okay.
And he's like, we want to lift your 6 months suspension.
Because they want you to play keyboard.
And I was like, okay, so you want me back on the keyboard? You want me back in the music ministry, in the music department? Mm-hmm. He's like, yes. And then he ordered me to just go and play, like then and there. So I'm like, okay, sure. So I'm walking. you can't write this, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm walking down the aisle to the stage, but as I'm walking, it feels like this is what I.
What?
You can't make this up.
Okay.
I hear.
Actually,
as I'm walking down the aisle,
that is wait.
So I'm like, what are these people talking about? Like, what is going on? So
mate, they're talking about you. They're all texting about this on the church group chat. Guess who's back? Yeah, you gotta get down here, bro. Bro, they know that was about you. That church group chat was lit that day.
Oh my God.
It was firing up. It was firing up. Okay.
So obviously I got on stage and then so I start playing. I'm not getting daggers, yeah? Mm-hmm. But I'm getting like
looks.
Wait, it's not 6 months yet.
Yeah.
That type of look. Right?
And plus everyone knew as well.
And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, why is this pastor putting me in this position? Like, before you lift the suspension, you should tell the church. The same way you told me to embarrass myself in front of the whole church and kneel down and all that.
Yeah.
Tell them so that I don't get the looks. Mm-hmm. The subsequent Sundays were tough.
Really? I can imagine, yeah.
They were very tough because not everyone knew. So I'll be coming into church, going on stage, and people would look at me like, what is going on? Is it not the guy? Da, 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 da. So it took me probably 2 months, and then I quit the church.
Really?
Yeah.
Did anyone say anything to you directly?
What? Whilst after the suspension?
After the suspension was lifted.
There were a few people that were happy for me to see me back. Because back in the day, I had a choir called Echoes of Praise, and Mummy was part of it. And like we were the
you
boss.
were the bee's knees.
We were out there, we were singing, we were doing amazing stuff, and people were excited because they thought, okay, that's gonna come back. A lot of other things, it didn't. It didn't because it just, I had a child coming. I didn't have the time.
Yeah, fair
I had
enough.
work. But yeah, it took me 2 months after the suspension because the church had a policy. I abided by the policy. I had done everything I needed to do, but somehow things were never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
and that's the thing they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Things were never going to be the same.
Yeah.
And I knew that I would never be the same. They wouldn't view
I
was
they
the
wouldn't
same
view you
Jesse,
the
but they
same.
wouldn't view me.
They wouldn't view you
you're
the same.
absolutely
Definitely
right.
not.
So obviously I left the church and I went to another church, but eventually had to quit church altogether because the last church I went to was the other church that you're aware of. We don't need to name drop there, the one in Stratford there. But I think I became more rebellious after the first church.
Yeah.
Because I realized that there was a lot of hypocrisy.
And politics.
And politics. The worst part of it is the pastor's wife's friend had a daughter who had a child out of wedlock after me.
Okay.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Now, I mean, we all had children in our 20s, so it's not like we were teenagers or anything like that.
Yeah, 20s.
But nothing happened. Nothing at all happened. This is after I had left the church.
Okay.
So I obviously, I've got all my boys in the church, so they called me and they're like, Jesse, can you believe this? And I was like, I actually can.
Yeah.
I actually can. Nothing happened.
Wow.
When someone asks me, why do you have a problem with churches? I'm like, oh, where do I begin? You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's the story of the Wahala that went on even before you were born. It was mad.
Yeah.
But we pulled through, and you've come out amazing. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you hear these stories, you don't think that could happen. Mommy had a similar encounter.
Because she was the one who was actually pregnant.
Yeah. So she was the one that was actually pregnant, and I would go to her church with her and all of that, and she had a similar encounter. And I think that it's not fair to actually recount or relive that here, because I would like her, as part of her interview with you at some point, to
speak about it,
because I think that we had different experiences.
How so? Like, one was better, one was more forgiving?
Oh God, they were both terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because the church lives by a pretentious code of perfection. And when you show signs that you're human, i.e. you fall short of their standards, which is very human, they jump on their high horses and want to be the first to chastise you, want to be the first to whip you, because, oh God, this is a holy place, you can't. Like, hold on a minute, what?
Yeah.
So they were both not great. I mean, mine was more embarrassing because of having to stand in front of the whole church. Oh, and mind you, they brought all the teenagers. So the teenagers have a service after the main service.
Okay.
They brought all the children from the children's ministry. And they brought all the teenagers because the teenagers were arriving as the church was about to end.
Okay, yeah.
And then they asked me to stand in front of the whole church. The church is a 200-seater church, plus all the teenagers, plus all the children. And so I had to apologize and kneel down in front of all of these people to apologize. Janelle obviously didn't go through that. She went through a more passive-aggressive response from the church, which is equally bad.
Yeah.
Because for me, I preferred them just show me their colors right there and what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
But so it was tough. And there were a lot of, oh my God, now your life is finished. You're not going to make it and all of that. The funny thing is some of the people in the church are still cleaners. And I'm now a deputy director.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whose life is messy now?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, your destiny is yours, man. You don't have to let anyone tell you anything. Your destiny is in your hands. You shape it, you know? So yeah, there's more to it because there is all of that. And then there is the 9 months.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Which were not easy. They were not easy 9 months at all.
How did it go telling your parents?
My parents were the weird part is I think my parents wanted grandkids. They've always wanted grandkids.
Fair enough.
My parents are old, 80s,
yeah,
so they always wanted grandkids. And at that point, there were no grandkids in the family. You're the oldest out of all the grandkids.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's not that many, so.
No, there's not. Well, there's you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of you so far.
Oh, okay.
My stepbrother's kids.
Yeah.
But they're all younger than you. And then there's obviously Caleb. And you. So my mom wasn't happy because of the because obviously my mom was a pastor and all of that. So the religious element of it, but she wanted grandkids, so she was happy. My dad didn't take it too well. So I eventually had to leave the house because we were clashing a bit because of it, which was great because I needed to grow up. I needed to get my own space. I needed to start to live independently to understand what it is to pay council tax, what it is to... Because up till then, all I was doing was giving him a portion of the rent, a portion of the bills, a portion of the this. I never paid anything myself. I just said, I've been paid, here you go. Use this towards the rent, the bills, all of that.
Yeah.
But eventually had to move out to learn
what
it is to be an adult, living in your own house, paying your own bills, which was great. It was great. Eventually moved back because things were just getting really tough and I had to move back out again. So
I remember the moving back out again bit.
Yeah. It was tough. It was tough. It was this whole experience, right, shows me how powerful we are, right? Because no event today has the ultimate power of shaping tomorrow. You still have the power for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have it. Mm-hmm. And if everything falls flat today, if everything breaks down today, you can still fix it. You don't say because everything is broken today, there is no tomorrow. We are done. That's it. We're done for. No. And I say that because I look at, as I said, the careers of most of the people in that church.
Yeah.
Most of them would have to go through my PA to speak to me at work.
That's
and I don't
true,
say
actually.
I don't say that arrogantly.
No, but it's
I
true.
say that just to press on the fact that you have control of your destiny. You don't have to, because everything falls down. Like I had a friend in school who failed WASEC. WASEC is the West African. It's like GCSEs.
Okay.
This boy is now one of the biggest entrepreneurs in America.
Really?
And he's making probably quadruple, even more what I'm making now.
Yeah.
And he failed. He failed. Like F. Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Like he he failed.
Like proper.
Oh,
Really?
like it's those type of test papers you look at and be like, oh, why? You could have at least answered this question. Yeah, he failed.
Okay.
But now he's making stupid money in America because he didn't let that define him.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that, mommy's living her best life now, just chilling, because again, she didn't let what people say back in the day define her. And I think that that's the thing, right? That's the key to life. That's the key to happiness. Accepting that you failed, but it's always about the learning, right?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong and how can I fix it so that it doesn't happen again? But it's also the defiant feeling of, we move on. This is not going to shape me.
Yeah.
We wake up tomorrow and we'll do better. That's all there is. So I'm happy for all the experience that I went through because it's made me exactly who I am today. Made me stronger and more empathetic and more inclined to understand people's flaws and not really take a pitchfork and want to stab them because I think I'm better than them.
Yeah.
And give people the grace to make mistakes, but always help them and support them in trying to find out how they made a mistake and support them to ensure it doesn't happen again. That's all life is. But people just make it seem as if you have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Literally impossible.
And anyone that says it's possible is living in cuckoo land. It's not possible to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because actually, what is perfection?
Everyone has a different perception of what perfect is.
Yeah, then perfect becomes a spectrum, doesn't it? It's not really a fact. It's not really a fact. Like, perfect would be A+ on an exam. But if I say, for me, like the way people say, my truth, my truth is perfect is B, then perfect is not really a fact, is it?
Yeah.
It's not a fact anymore. It becomes whatever. So I'm really hoping that inspires you. But I think that it would be key to hear more of Mummy's story because I think Mummy has a different, not a different version, but a different experience.
Okay.
The experience is quite similar, but there is no way I can tell you her experience because I don't have a womb and I don't know what it is to carry a child and I don't know what it is to have morning sickness. I saw it. I just don't know what it is.
Okay.
I don't know what it is to have back pains because you're pregnant. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Coupled with the drama that comes with it. Because I remember the walk from whatever station it was to a coffee shop where we first met Janice and Janelle's father.
Yeah.
Elwin.
What was this after you found out you were pregnant?
Yeah.
Okay.
The walk felt, that walk felt like, it felt like
death row.
It felt like death row. Very perfectly put, Kayla. It felt like death row.
Really?
And I think she was more nervous than I was. And I think she was more nervous than I was because she knew who we were going to meet. Whereas I was like, yeah.
You'd met them before that though, right?
I don't know if I had met Janice before then.
Okay.
But, we had gone over to meet them and I had said to them that I was pursuing acting at the time because that was my passion, still my passion. And I remember Janice quite vividly said, you're going to be a father now. You have to think about a job that will give you money and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, but she was saying stuff around those lines.
It's like something she would
I
say.
said, no, I'm going to make it. You've got to believe me. And I could see from their faces, they thought, oh God, these guys are doomed. Here we go. There's this guy that wants to be an actor and there's this girl that doesn't have a career. Because Janelle was working in retail at the time.
Yeah.
But I think that the blessing of having my parents and Janice and Elwin and Joyce, was that I always forget Janelle's mom's name. So I've been calling her Janelle's mom all my life. And when I meet her, I call her mom. I don't call her
Do you
Joyce.
actually?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
so
did.
cute.
I did that because I just. But then again, I've not met her a lot of times. I just did that because I just.
You know, she asks about you sometimes. She's like, "Oh, how's your dad?"
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. It's just like Mbali's mom. I don't call her Mbali's mom. I call her mom.
Mom, yeah.
Like anyone that is my mom's age, I just call you mom or auntie or something like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
The blessing of having them is that although they were upset, they just rallied and they got their hands dirty. They rolled their sleeve. They're like, okay, what can we do? How can we help?
Yeah.
My parents were like babysitters in corporation. Anytime I needed to go do some audition or whatever, if I couldn't go with you, if I couldn't do anything, they would be there to support. My sister came on board, very helpful. My brother was very helpful. Janice, Elwin, everybody just came together.
Yeah.
Right?
That's nice.
So, again, a father and mother are not enough to raise a child. You need more for community.
Yeah.
You can confidently say that Janice, my mom, everybody, play a part in supporting you and raising you, all of that. 100%. And you need that. The father and the mother are not enough. They're just definitely not enough. And that's why, if you look at the statistics for the number of men in prison, I really hate the statistics. I had to check it. It was actually true. A lot of the men in prison are from single mother homes, men who didn't have their fathers around.
Yeah.
It's so important that you have both parents around. And if they're not around, it's important that you have a representative of either parent around.
Yeah.
There's some people that are unfortunate. Their mother died when they were born or their father died or whatever. You still need a male figure in your life that can play that role for you. And it's so important. But even if you have a mother and a father, you need people, a village in your life, people, sensible people like Janice, like Elwin, like all these people that will not BS you and say things to make you happy. They will tell you the truth. Let me tell you that
100%
Janice and I, the last time Janice and I spoke, we spoke about my job in Wales.
Yeah.
Janice don't hold back.
She really doesn't.
And we just talk straight truth. She was like, okay, cool. Why do you want to do it? We were just very honest with each other.
Yeah.
And you need that. You don't need people in your life who will just say things because they want you to be happy. No. You need people to be honest with you and just tell you the truth.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So you're very, very lucky. You're in a good position.
I do have a good circle
and
of people
you're
around
very
me.
fortunate. So you need to be aware of how fortunate you are and be grateful to God that you have that.
100%, honestly.
Because there are people that don't. There are girls your age in juvie and girls your age on the street doing the foolishness. Even girls your age who are pregnant because they just didn't have the right people in their life to guide them. You see what I mean?
Just burp.
That was all the coffee.
Okay.
Yeah. You see what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy hearing all of this.
Yes and no.
Yes or no?
Yes and no.
Okay, expand.
Because obviously it's crazy to think about like to hear it from your perspective, from like what actually happened.
Yeah.
But I didn't really grow up going to church. I haven't really gone to church since I was like 7 or something. It's been a while.
You used to go with me every time.
Like every week.
Yeah.
Because obviously you were doing the keyboard.
Yeah.
All of that. But
can I just say something to that, right?
What?
The reason, so there are people that are going to watch this and think, I am not setting the right example for you, right? My mother said to me that it's important that you take your child to church and get them to know God, introduce them to God. So my thing, I'm very much still a believer of God. I still have a lot of questions that I'm still trying to figure out. And a lot of things that I disagree with about the church. This is all not new to you. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
But I believe that every Christian needs to have their own encounter with God. When eventually you decide to go to church one day and follow God and walk in the light of God, I want you to do it not because I was dragging your ass to church every day.
Yeah.
I want you to do it because
I want to.
You have an authentic, genuine, convicted spirit and a willingness to want to do it. There is no me forcing you. There is no, let me just do it because my dad wants me to. There's none of that. Yeah. Because it has to be true. If you want to have a relationship with God, it has to be true. It can't be fake.
Yeah.
There were times that I was speaking in tongues in church and I was just making words up because everyone was doing so. I was like, shabalabala, rabalaba, shelebelebele. Makes zero sense. It's nothing. It's gibberish.
Yeah.
I didn't have a connection with God. I was just doing things because people were doing it in church.
Yeah.
So it's important that you find God your own way, your own time. And if it happens when you're 30 or 40, then so be it. Like, I don't care. It's your personal relationship with God. That's not something that I dictate. So to those that may want to say, okay, you're a Christian, why are you not introducing your child? I mean, at the age of 14, some kids at the age of 14 are preaching.
Yeah.
They're preaching to other kids. Like, they're leading Bible worship, they're praying, all of that.
Yeah.
If it happens for you, great. If it doesn't, it's your personal walk with God. You have to find God yourself.
Yeah.
I do believe there is God, and I do believe he's great and he's amazing and he's the G, but you have to discover him for yourself.
Yeah. You know, on that note,
Yeah.
That reminds me of an encounter I had with a girl in my school. This was a few weeks ago or something like that. Yeah. And she's new to the school. Not new, but she's not been here a long time. And we live quite close to each other. So sometimes I'll see her like on the way to school and we'll just like walk like, oh, how you doing? Just a normal conversation. We weren't friends like that. But we'd be friendly. Yeah. So one day, this was the first time it happened. One day we were walking, right? And we were just talking about like our parents and like, my mom, whatever. And she was like, what did she say? She was like, like how was your weekend? I was like, oh yeah, it was cool. I was just chilling at home. And she was like, oh, did you not go to church? I was like, no.
Is this a black girl?
Yes, okay. Black girl. I was like, no. She was like, oh, you should come to my church. You should come to my church. I was trying to be friendly because this was like one of the first times that we had talked. I was like, okay, cool. Obviously, I'm not gonna say yes. But yeah, she was like, yeah, you should come. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I was just standing there because we were walking to school at the time. So I'm just there like, okay. Yeah.
Did you actually?
But yeah. And then she was like, oh, why don't you go to church? And there's not a lot of black people in my school. I go to a predominantly Asian school. And I feel at times it feels kind of alienating because by an Asian school standard, there's a specific criteria that you have to meet to be black. So no one has said this to me specifically, but in my school, I would technically be classified as whitewashed because I don't go to church. I don't have braids or edges or anything like that. This is what they see as blackness.
Actually, what you have on your hair is blackness. I mean, I don't understand what people... And this is the thing, right?
You know, I'm one of the only people with locks.
Yeah. The problem with some black people is the category that they feel they necessarily need to put certain people in. You're not black enough. You're not black enough. You're too black, or you're white, or you're black. You know the term coconut? You know coconut is white inside.
Yeah.
So when a black person, this is for your reference going forward.
Okay.
If a black person calls you coconut, what they're saying that is like, you're not really black. You're white. You're white inside.
Yeah.
You know, like people like Janice, who are very well spoken, and like some people call her a coconut because she's not really black, because they think black is street. They think black is yardie. They think black is all of that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. We black people should be in the very same spaces as white people. We should be able to be eloquent. We should be able to read books. We should be able to do all of that without having to be called a coconut or you're not black enough, or, you know?
Yeah.
So if I were you, don't pay 2 cents.
No shade to the black girls in my school.
Yeah.
Or in my year group, because I'm talking about my year group specifically, right? But the thing is, there's I think in my year group in total, there's probably like 15 black girls. There's 300 people like in the year group in total, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe about 15 black people, but black girls. Yeah. And I would say about like 10 of them
Yeah.
are all in the same friendship group.
Yeah.
So when people think about blackness in my year group,
Yeah.
it's, oh yeah, the black girls. And if you're not in that circle, you're not black. And I don't hang.
That's fine, but it's how they define black. You don't have to justify that definition of blackness.
Yeah.
You know, you're born to a Ghanaian man and a Antiguan British woman.
Yeah.
You know, how more black can it get? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't pay attention to that. And to be fair, you don't really have to be in people's friend groups.
I know.
You're an excellent child. You're doing well in school. You've got your own podcast. You're having sensible conversations. You're the youngest black British playwright in the UK. You really don't need to beg to be put in groups.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So they
like my whole friend group is either Asian or white.
Yeah, it's
and
fine.
it's not because I don't want to be associated with black people or anything. It's not even about that.
Yeah.
But just the company that I choose to keep is people that I feel a connection with and people that we have a good conversation together.
Yeah.
We genuinely bond as friends, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go and join the group that I'm expected to join.
Yeah.
And these people are my friends. We go to like clubs together. We play sports together, all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Most of these friends, I met them playing netball.
When you say clubs, what do you mean? Like as
like sports clubs.
Sports clubs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I met most of these people playing netball, so they're my friends.
Yeah.
But on a day-to-day basis, they're not the people that I would spend my time with. Because not because I don't want to be associated or anything, but that's just not the company that I choose to keep. And people are always confused about that. The same girl that was asking me why I wasn't going to church, she was like, she came to me like in the morning and I was with all my friends and we were just like chatting, just messing around, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, she whispered to me, she was like, where are your black friends? I was like, they around.
They're around.
They somewhere. She was like, and then Roshani, she's Sri Lankan, right?
Yeah.
And obviously she's got dark skin, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, she turned to her, she was like, where's your black friends? I was like, you know, and then she turned to her, she was like, you're black. And then you could see the look on her face. She was like, no, I am not. take a second guess, girl.
Do you know what? We don't have a lot of time on this episode, but I'd like us to explore this in our next episode, next week maybe.
Yeah.
To talk about what it means to be black.
Yeah, definitely.
And what blackness is. I think we need to talk about that. There is somebody that I think we need to invite to the next episode, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Emmanuel is a connoisseur when it comes to this topic because he's had several debates, several conversations around blackness and the divide within our communities. You know, the Jamaicans against my friend Spencer hates to be called African. Wants nothing to do with that word because he believes he is Jamaican. And doesn't accept the fact that his ancestors came from the land of Africa. Whether you choose to accept the fact or not, that's just what it is. And I think that's something that I want us to discuss in depth next week. I can't say that word. Let's watch some videos and react because
Lovely. Changes the subject.
Because we only have 10 minutes, apparently.
This one. Okay, this is what's been in your head for the last like however many weeks.
Yep.
What the
Watch
hell? This. Oh, I think I've seen this one. That's overact much. That's funny.
More potato, more potato, more potato, more potato, more potato, more potato, more more potato, more potato, more potato. More potato, more potato, more potato.
Why?
This is a longer version of chicken.
Chicken, banana. Chicken, banana, banana.
It drops now.
Chicken, banana. Chicken, banana. Chicken, banana.
Wait, why does that actually slap? I can't lie.
What?
Why does that actually slap?
So now this is the best.
Okay. Oh, not again with chicken banana.
No, this is different.
Okay. Now this is gonna be.
Banana. Banana. Banana.
He continues.
It sounds like a crime scene. What the hell? Okay. Chicken and banana.
This video made me smile. Read the
Okay, these parents are about to surprise their daughter just when she needs the most. Okay. Oh, that's cute.
It made me cry, man.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
They literally flew all the way to a university to be with her because she's stressed out because of her exams. There is something parents can do for kids that no friend can do. That's why you need your parents around, man.
Yeah.
Even me, even at this age, if my mom and my dad surprised me at work one day on a stressful day, that would be the same reaction.
Really?
No, honestly, you think you wouldn't react like that, and then you do. And then you do, man. What is this?
When you're sick.
I love pasta.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now look. It's a pill. It's a pasta pill.
Did you actually hear it?
It's a pasta pill.
When you're sick.
Wait.
White, green or black, show off your natural flamingo. I. If you're multicolored, I sky.
This is a comedian.
Black, green or black. Show off the natural you flamingo. I multicolored.
That is too funny.
What year does it have?
I'm ready. Okay, my guy.
As you can see, my son is trying to join the gang. But as his father, I cannot allow this.
You've seen this.
Son, please. You need to go.
Hold that.
No. Eh? My son wants me to eliminate him from this life. But I'm going to give him one more chance. Son, we're not playing. Let's go.
Shut up.
Everybody clap for his brother.
Click bravery.
You are the best man. My son, the big gangster, has nominated himself to be a psych official now.
Oh my god, that is too funny.
This video, by the way, stresses me out because it makes me feel old.
Okay.
This is
What
the last
year
video.
does a person have to be born to be considered old?
Anything before the 2000s.
I was born in 2006,
So anything under 2000s is mad. Unk status, bro, I'm telling you.
Like 1999.
If you're born in the 90s, I would say probably 1995.
I'm older than all the ages they're saying, by the
Like,
way.
you're getting on a bit, I think.
25 is quite old. No, like not old though, but like getting it closer to 30.
27, around about then. 27, 28.
2 years on, and I'm over the hill.
What planet do these people live
My
in?
sister's
What
30
planet?
this year, so I believe the 90s are considered old.
Every time you hear 2000s or everything is just like modern. But whenever you hear 90s, you just think old. Yeah, you just think 90s.
Shut your mouth, man. Shut your face.
1980.
Probably same 1980s. If you're born in that era and later, it's like.
That's me.
Okay.
What year does it pass?
The message from this video is that you are old.
All right, we need to wrap up. I'll stop. I liked this episode. I thought it was really good. Oh, echo. Yeah, we're good. We're good now anyway. Well done. Very proud of you. Good conversation.
Oh, yeah.